Well, hello everybody. Hello, if I can say it properly. Chaz Draycott here for the Prototype Cup Germany second race of the weekend. And I'm really looking forward to getting these LMP3 cars back out on track. Absolutely fallen in love with them over the weekend. It's been really cool to see them up close. It's a car that we don't often see over in the UK. We don't have our own sort of championship for them or anything over there. So it's nice to see them out in person and being put through their paces. All the fans and everybody all out live on the circuit. They're even bringing Kiss Cam to the broadcast as well, which is not something I knew that we'd be doing today. But still, it's all about the love around the circuit here at the Nürburgring. It's been an insanely entertaining weekend so far, and we hope you are all enjoying yourselves as well. We'll be going through the grid rather soon. We'll have a look at exactly how they're all going to line up in this one. We have 11 cars out on circuit once again. And after a win yesterday for the number 24 Reiter engineering machine of Freddie Hunt and Mads Seilerhaug, they're going to be looking to doing just the same today. Good afternoon, everybody in the YouTube chat as well. I'll be trying to keep up to tabs with all of you lot watching along as well as the race goes on. But I will be doubling my phone up as a, not sort of timing screen, but maybe just a look at some of the standings and other information as well. Another Kiss Cam brought to us here on the circuit. I think that's a fantastic addition. It's normally something you only really see it maybe football or baseball over in the United States. But to bring it here at the Nürburgring is wonderful. We had a bit of a delay to proceedings. One of the races a little bit earlier in the day got pushed back due to a red flag. And there is the 10-minute board going up in the air in the pit lane as well. So not too long to go now. That's 10 minutes to the start, which means that the pit exit is open. And the first car out is the Müllner Motorsport Duqueine D08, making a phenomenal noise as it leaves the pit lane. Next up behind him is the 23 Pegasus racing car, Thibaut Earhart driving that machine. And here's a look at your grid. Look how close some of the times are from second downwards. Berke Besler and Marvin Dienst starting the number 7 car on pole position, Talksport WRT. Next up is going to be Gary Hauser and Sebastian von Gartzen in the number 12 machine, ahead of the 2 from Conrad Motorsport, the gorgeous Ginetta G61 LTP3. Then we have the Reiter engineering car, number 24, next up, ahead of Fricadelli Racing, the invitational entry for this race meeting. Donar Munding is next up as well in the Müllner Motorsport Duqueine D08 with his teammate Matthias Luthen. And then the number 33 car in 7th with the number 5 of Speed Factory Racing, Giorgio Rosa, starting that car, I believe, ahead of Jakob Erlacher. And then on the back row of the grid will be, sorry, the number 70 is the next up actually. It's Earl Backer, sorry, Gephardt Motorsport. Then we have the 72 Koiranen Motorsport machine on row 5 joining them, and then Thibaut Earhart at the back of the pack on his own in the number 23 Pegasus racing machine. They make their way around now, just filtering their way through to the start of the race to go and line up on the grid. There is the race winner from yesterday, number 24, Reiter Engineering. One of the many very beautiful Ligier JSP 320s in this pack. It's great to see that even within a category like this, where a lot of the cars can always look rather similar, you know, they're all built around the same principle. They can look very different indeed and have their own beautiful different looks about them. For me, it has to be the Ginetta, I'm afraid, not just because it's a British brand, but the Ginetta G61 LTP3 is a stunning looking race car, very swooping shape to it, and of course the colour scheme that they run on this car looking very good as well. It does look like that rear wing is a lot lower though, doesn't it, compared to some of the others. It doesn't look like it's as tall a rear wing because of the cyan and sort of teal colour along the top of it. It does look like they're running what's called a skinny wing as well, so it's a little bit slimmer than some of the others. Maybe a bit of a low downforce setup on that car. Some of them look a lot taller and further away from the monocoque in the middle of the chassis. I can hear them all revving now outside my window as they build up the revs and then put temperature into the brakes by accelerating briefly and then braking hard just to get the brakes initially warmed up. And the number 2 car makes its way to the second row of the grid. According to my grid sheet, it's Maximilian Hacklander that's going to be starting that car. Freddie Hunt joining him on row 2. It's going to be Marvin Dienst in the number 7 Ligier at the front, with the number 12 Duquesne DO8 of Sebastian von Gartzen joining him. There's the number 12 car, the Racing Experience. And their racing has been an experience so far. They've had some very lively races in the campaign. I'm just waiting to see, actually. I thought there was an amended grid for just a moment. I apologise. So I was just taking a second to check that out and just see if the document had come through, but it seems like there's, because we have a number of different series here this weekend, there is a list of them that gets sent out as like official bulletins essentially. So there was an amended grid for another championship, but for some reason my screen decided to scroll down and display it as this one. Anyway, away from me being too honest for my own good, everybody in the beautiful sunshine here at the Nürburgring waiting to get this race underway. We're not too far away from it. It's going to be a 55-minute race. So it's just under an hour, and the timer in yesterday's race at least started when the formation lap begins. As we have an interview here, which unfortunately is going on. Oh no, it's not going on in German, I don't think. I can only just hear it, I'm afraid, because I don't get the production feed fully in my ears for this. But I believe this is Berke Besler that we're speaking to. And of course he's looking forward to a strong start in the number 7 car. They've got a lot of work to do though to outdo themselves from yesterday, because let's not forget that the incident into the pit lane was unfortunately Berke losing the rear end. And there was big damage, which unfortunately took them out of the race. Now there's a look at the circuit itself. Of course, we're not using the full layout this weekend. We're using the shortened version with the Dunlop Kehrer and the Michael Schumacher S further down the hill, being used as the Mullenbach Schleifer for all of the show trucks, and of course the beautiful firework display which went on yesterday evening. It's still quite a decent lap around here though. It's over 1 minute and 20 seconds in these prototype machines. So it's almost a sort of Grand Prix length circuit anyway. The Mercedes Arena takes quite a long time to get around in cars like this. You have to be so careful trying to get the power down and push as hard as you can. And there is the championship leader that came into this round with the biggest points tally of 50 after winning both races at Spa. This is the first time they've been on pole position this season. They were not on pole for either race at Spa, and they won both of them. So doing a good job from further down in the order, just by a little bit anyway. Just seen a comment in the YouTube chat that says that the prototypes look very small behind the massive Iveco S-Way that leads the field, and will continue to do so as well during the formation laps and the pace laps. My good friend Frank will be driving the Iveco S-Way, and trust me, he knows how to throw that thing around. He really does. These guys are incredibly talented drivers. We've got welcomes in the YouTube chat from all over the world. Great to see you, and a big wave as well from the guys out there around the circuit. Great to have all the fans here with us. this weekend once more. And there you go. We've got Jens, Stefan, Sven. Oh, I didn't see the rest of the names, I'm sorry. But the guys all out having a fantastic weekend of it as well. We've even got a Hen Low in chat as well. It's been a while since I've said that, actually. But still, I love it. We've got people in the chat from Thailand, Greece, Alabama, Canada, Rhode Island as well. Great to see you all. Absolutely great to see you all. And there's one of the wonderful high-tech steering wheels that you have on modern-day prototype racing machines. So many stats and numbers for these drivers to look at, and of course all of the functional buttons as well on their button box to the left-hand side. You can figure out and configure so much in these racing machines over the course of even just a 20-minute race. You know, you can change the brake bias as the tyres start to wear, maybe get a little bit more rotation from the rear end. If you want the car to dance a little bit more on the way into the corner, you shift the brake bias further back. If you want it to be a little bit more stable, but you have to brake a little bit earlier, then you want to shift the brake bias to the front and hope that you do not continue to lock up the front two wheels, or at least the inside tyre as well, creating a big old flat spot and making whatever corners you then go through after that feel absolutely terrible. But these cars, certainly absolute powerhouses, big beefy V8s in the back end of them, powering them around the circuit, and lots of aerodynamics on them as well, but they still behave like they're a very heavy car. You know, they're not as quick as the LMP2s, obviously, in the category name. You know, they're a subcategory to LMP2s and of course the hypercar regulations that you now see in the World Endurance Championship, but they are still very pretty machines, aren't they? Real proper prototypes. And to be honest, I think they are one of the best sounding racing categories in the world right now. That's the 23 Pegasus racing car of Thibaut Earhart. He's going to be starting at the back of the grid, and it's a one-man entry as well. So he will not be having a driver change in the pit stop or anything like that. He'll just be enjoying the race fully on his own. And our marshals guiding our cameraman out of the pit lane as the field gets going. We've got more hellos in the YouTube chat. Welcome everybody, welcome indeed. My name is Chaz Draycott and I am absolutely over the moon to be out here at the Nürburgring in the beautiful sunshine, commentating on primarily the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, which is the headline act this weekend. But it's also great to be able to cover the Prototype Cup Germany for the ADAC. They've been very kind and asked me to come along and continue to provide my commentary in English over their wonderful racing series. So just to recap the grid for you all then, pole position goes the way of TalkSport WRT, the number 7 car, there it is, on pole position. Alongside them on the front row is the number 12 of Racing Experience, that car being shared by Gary Hauser and Sebastian von Gartzen. Third place, Maximilian Hacklander will be starting the number 2 Conrad Motorsport Ginetta, which finished yesterday's race in second position after an impressive final stint. Then it's the number 24 Reiter Engineering Ligier, which won yesterday's race, starting in 4th position. Behind them, the invitational entry, Fricadelli Racing's number 30 Ligier as well. The 21 Duquesne is next up of Milner Motorsport. Behind them on the 4th row of the grid, we have number 33 Rinaldi Racing, joined by number 5, which is Speed Factory Racing. Row 5, the final full row of the grid, is headed up by the Gebhardt Motorsport number 70 Ginetta, and then the 72 Koiranen, I'll still get it right one day, Koiranen Duquesne D08, Sebastian Arenram on the timesheet for that one. And then at the back of the grid, as we saw a moment ago, all on his lonesome, bless him, is Thibaut Earhart in the 23 Pegasus Racing Ligier JSP 320. Easy for me to say. But there you go, there is another view of just the scale of the Iveco S-Way. Look at it compared to the tiny little LMP3 cars. And to be honest with you, these LMP3s, they're not small cars. Prototype racing machines are a lot longer than people give them credit for, you know. They are pretty hefty cars, but even they look unbelievably tiny compared to the Iveco S-Way, the bio-LNG powered Iveco S-Way that leads the pack. And the field will do 2 formation laps. They'll continue to weave once again, and it's at the end of the next formation lap where Frank will enter the pit lane, and they will all be left to their own devices to get their race underway. I can hear them all screaming their way past, despite not being at full race pace. They just sound so good, so good. Very beefy V8 engines powering them around. And I hope you all enjoy the sound as much as I do. Like I've said, I think it's one of the very best racing categories for the sounds of the cars in the world. And everybody's saying that having a truck being the pace car is such a German thing to do. Well, to be honest with you, the headline act, like I've said, this weekend is the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. This is the International ADAC Truck Grand Prix. So I think it would be completely wrong to use anything else other than the truck itself, which also heads our field as well. We have 2 of them here this weekend, as well as 2 of the beautiful Ford F-Maxes, which is the official truck of the championship. And it's good to see it getting that extra little bit of track time for the other series involved as well. I'm excited to see what the number 7 car can do from the front of the field here, because as mentioned, they have 2 race wins to their name so far this season. 50 points were on the board before they even came to the Nürburgring. We have future race meetings as well this season. It's quite a short championship, but at the end of the day, they make what they can of it, and it's really good to be a part of it for at least one weekend this season. On the 20th and 21st of August, we go to the Lausitz Ring for rounds 5 and 6. And then we will complete the championship at the Hockenheim Ring on the 22nd and 23rd of October. Beautiful sunshine lighting up the entire circuit, and all of these cars glowing in the heat. Now, it's important to mention that TalkSport are making their prototype racing debut this year with this Ligier. They have Berke Besler and Marvin Dientz sharing the car. Berke Besler started karting in 2006. He's done a few races in GT4s and Porsche Cup cars as well, but this season is his first time in an LMP3, as well as the team's first time running one. So they're doing an incredible job so far, considering that this is such a new venture for them. Frank throws the Iveco into the pit lane, and the race is about to get underway. Around the final they go then, around the final corner, and it is TalkSport on the front row versus the number 12 machine. They all power down the start finish straight, and race number 2 of the weekend gets underway. The whole commentary box has just vibrated and nearly fallen over. It's absolutely stunning noise. So they're continuing to stay side by side down into turn 1. They're 3 wide in the middle of the pack with Fricadelli Racing down the inside, but it's a really tidy start for the TalkSport car. Looked like a bit of a lock-up from the inside there from somebody, maybe even the Fricadelli car. Brighter Engineering right in the middle of that as well. And all the way around the outside, take a bow, sunshine. I'm pretty sure it's Felipe Laser that started the Fricadelli car, but he's up into 3rd position already. A great getaway. And down the inside of the Reiter machine, no, there's no room there. That looked like it's like the number 12 has already dropped a number of positions. A little bit of a weave there from the number 7, just making sure that there's all the temperature possible in the tyres. We'll get confirmation now of the drivers as they come around out of the first sector. They cross the line. It's Besler from Hacklander, then it's Felipe Laser, Freddie Hunt, Von Gartzen, then we have Munding, Salmonosio, Villa Gomez, Chucklin. We also have Herrick and then Earhart at the back of the field, and there you will get the confirmation on the left-hand side of your screen. Look at the weaving already from Berke Besler, making sure that he's heating up the tyres. It's lights ablaze from Felipe Laser. There's the 21 car, which was on pole position yesterday. And now apparently it's Dientz behind the wheel of the number 7 car. Some of them did just change over. Aaron Ram driving the 72 Koirunen car as well. So we get the confirmation just there. And across the line at the end of lap 1 already, it is TalkSport leading the way. 2nd place at the moment, Conrad Motorsport, then Fricadelli Racing, Reiter Engineering in 4th place. Freddie Hunt, well, he's on the hunt at the moment, isn't he? Chasing down that Fricadelli car. They're saying, look, we're the only pretty white and red car here on this grid. You cannot steal our thunder like that. Still a really good start to the race. I saw a quick complimentary comment about the handling of the Iveco earlier on, by the way, and it is absolutely amazing. It really does handle so well. But these things, I imagine, handle a little bit better. It looks right now, though, like the number 2 car, Conrad Motorsport machine, driven by Hacklander, is having to start defending already against the progress of Felipe Laser. as they make their way around the end of the lap. Looks nice and tidy. But it's a great start by Marvin Dienst. Absolutely flying, using all of his experience at the front of the field to try and break away. He has over 150 race starts in competitive racing. He's raced in Formula 4, GT3. He's raced in the 24 Hours of Dubai and, of course, in the 24 Hours of the Nürburgring as well. So he certainly knows his way around this place. And look at this, a little bit further down the order. This, I believe, number 12 of Von Gartzen, just ahead of Matthias Luthen, then Aaron Ram, and then Villa Gomez, not too far off the back of this either. Apologies, it's not Von Gartzen and Luthen. That is actually Villa Gomez ahead of Aaron Ram. And then Chucklin was just behind, and they're side by side for second position. That is Felipe Laser going past Max Hacklander. And apparently the start was absolutely fine, so there will be no further action from that. So everybody making a nice tidy start and getting away. And all of a sudden, Hacklander is now under more pressure from Freddie Hunt, the man that crossed the line to win yesterday's race. Suddenly it's looking very menacing, isn't it, that Ligier, all over the back of the Ginetta. Whoa, big sideways moment there by Freddie Hunt, kicking the back end out. Manages to get it saved. And this is a look back at the start then, so watch the black car on the right-hand side. Keep your eye on the number 12 machine. As they go down towards turn one, they just get hung out to dry on the outside. Everybody just piles in down the inside of them. Where did the actual loss of positions come? Because they still looked all right. They looked like they were third at this point. Frickadelli go all the way around the outside. And then I think Freddie Hunt then dives back down the inside. He does as well. Gets it done very nicely indeed. There's Hacklander still ahead of Hunt, still ahead of Von Gartzen. And we have Luthen not too far back either. That car started on pole position yesterday but dropped down the order. There's the incredible Felipe Laser, very impressive in yesterday's race as well. Hacklander there in the Ginetta in second position. Trying to somehow go chasing after the race leader, but that Ligier at the front is absolutely gone. Two Ligiers and a Ginetta in the top three. And then the Duquesnes being represented just further outside those positions. Freddie Hunt, of course, also in a Ligier, but we have Duquesnes in 5th and 6th, Von Gartzen and Luthen. Looked a little bit squirrely actually there into the final corner for just a moment. That was Villa Gomez in the number 33 entry from Rinaldi Racing. Didn't look too tidy. I'm not sure if you can hear the V8 noise coming through my microphone actually, because we do have a little window open here in the commentary box and it is unbelievably loud. Like honestly, I wish I was out there in the pit lane watching these things live in person, because it's just awesome. Absolutely awesome noise. That's the number 5 car of Alexei Chucklin, trying to chase down the number 70 car, which is being driven by Michael Herrick at the moment. We look back here at Villa Gomez, number 33. This car was running quite high up the order as well towards the latter stages of yesterday's race, but unfortunately lost a couple of positions near the end and would eventually finish off the podium. Mateo Villa Gomez, 11.2 seconds off the race leader before they hit that last sector beam. Still doing a good enough job so far, chasing after those championship points. There's your race leader, Marvin Dienst, in the number 7 Top Sport car. Felipe Laser trying to go chasing after him. Then we have Hacklander. And then Freddie Hunt in the hunt indeed. He's not as close as he was before though. Maybe just settle into a bit more of a rhythm at this point. All of the interviews that we had yesterday with the drivers that I did my best to translate were all along the same theme really. It's all about looking after the car in these races. You have to be oh so careful all of the time. it said in the latter stages. He just took his foot off the gas a little bit and let the gap come back down slightly because the car was behaving itself, and he knew that if they kept it nice and tidy, they would have a race win in the bag. Top two really breaking away right now. Freddie just not quite able to stay with them. Look at how much, I kept saying this yesterday, but honestly, that left rear is so bouncy around the hairpin there as they cut the circuit short. It really does bounce around, this car. Very stiff at certain points, and in other parts of the circuit you can imagine they actually feel quite smooth as well. They absorb curbs a lot better than a lot of other prototype categories would do around the world. They go up the hill hard onto the brakes, but they're using the faster of the two chicanes this weekend. The trucks that are racing here are using the smaller, tighter and even slower chicane than that to really get them slowed down. The gap across the line now for Dienst is 2.993 seconds over Felipe Laser. Hacklander still in third position, 5.6 seconds back off the lead. Don't forget as well, there is a pit stop window in these races, so the drivers will make a driver change and they will have a mandatory pit stop to complete. So the race order will still get mixed up at certain stages. Race leader looking good, sounding good at the moment. The lap times are good as well. 122.2 last time round. Nobody else got within even half. Actually, no, I lie, I apologise. Felipe Laser was only 1/10 of a second off, but no one else got within half a second of that. Everybody else was 22.8s, 9s, and then into the 23s and even 24s near the back of the grid. There's a little trio developing here for third position. So Hacklander, Hunt and von Gartzen getting closer and closer together. And there is the gorgeous Fricadelli racing car with the iconic red and white livery with the grey flashes and of course the day glow yellow highlights. They rumble their way down. It's like a thunderstorm on wheels. Across the start-finish line, just over 45 minutes of this race left to go. A purple sector 3 went in that time round by Marvin Dienst, and a personal best lap time as well, a 1:22.094. That does become the fastest lap of the race. An absolutely awesome time as well. The cars behind will surely be thinking there's a lot they need to do right now to try and catch up. I imagine these guys will all be focused on battling with one another, trying to stay in the fight as best they can. Because, strangely enough, with cars like this that are as aerodynamically dependent as they are, they do not slipstream as well as you would expect. I commentate on a couple of tin top racing championships around Europe as well, and even cars like the Renault Clio 5 has a bigger slipstream effect than something like an LMP3 car, because these cars are so aero dependent. You know, as soon as they get distorted air over them, it doesn't really improve their performance massively in a straight line. There will be a little bit of it because it's just a natural effect, but still, they do not really suck up to the back of the car in front of them, you know what I mean? So that's von Gartzen in the number 12 machine at the back of the pack, racing experience, certainly trying to experience a race where they're in a higher position at this point. There's a fourth car coming into the picture as well, which is the number 21 of Matthias Luthen, the Mühlner Motorsport machine, hoping to right some of the wrongs from yesterday after having an unfortunately poor result considering the fact they started on pole position. Mühlner Motorsport have over 40 years of experience as well, of course, in motorsport. Over 150 victories in different series all over the place. They won the ADAC GT Masters in 2008 as well. Tim Bergmeister was driving a Porsche 911 Cup that season. So it's certainly a team that has the experience. They just need to go chasing after those results in this particular category. Maximilian Hacklander just trying to hold on ahead of this trio at the moment. He's doing just what he needs to do right now. Freddie Hunt doesn't seem to be able to just get close enough, to be honest with you. right now, I'm pretty sure that Hacklander will be hacking on. He'll be really trying to push just to get them out of his mirrors, you know, just to take off that pressure. It's easy to say that you don't focus on the drivers in your mirrors, but honestly, as a racing driver, you're always checking your mirrors, seeing what's going on around you, seeing what's going on behind. If a racing driver tells you that they can completely ignore their mirrors and look forward, though, I have to say they're not telling the truth. There's the very pretty Duquesne DO8 machine of Matthias Luthen, Mühlner Motorsport, as mentioned. Through the Mercedes arena once again, you can see a big wobble there actually through turn 2. It does go over the crest of a hill, so it's easy to spin up the rear wheels under power through there. And a lot of the time then at turn 3, you see people over-rotate the car on the brakes when they're going down through the gears. They just lock up the rear end as the gearbox clatters from one gear into another. And it really does clatter in these things. It's honestly like every gear change is like a gunshot, like a cannon going off. As the exhaust completely eradicates all unburnt fuel. Makes a humongous pop and bang. I say, well, pop and bang is not a suitable phrase for that really, because it's not a pop at all. Like I say, it's a real explosion. You can probably hear them now as they start to fly past the cameras at higher speed as well, go up through the gears. But Mühlner Motorsport currently running in 6th position. A little bit of a gap back to Villagomez, but not too much. In fact, Villagomez's car is closer to Luthen than Luthen is to Von Gartzen ahead of him. And there is the Koirunen car, number 72, with Aaron Ram at the wheel. He's got Herrick behind him in the number 70. And then the Ukrainian driver, Alexei Chuklin, in the number 5 Speed Factory Racing Ligier. He's sharing that car with Giorgio Rosa this weekend, the Italian. His teammate was originally the Spanish driver Santiago Concepcion Serrano. But he is not here this weekend, so instead Chuklin has been chucked in to the car. It wasn't Chuklin yesterday, unfortunately, as they got a drive-through penalty. But they push on for a strong result here this afternoon at the Nürburgring. 40 minutes to go in Prototype Cup Germany. And it won't be too long now until the pit stop window opens. And then we'll see drivers coming in making those swaps. We had a couple of teams yesterday that stayed out for quite a long time. A few of them, though, came in at the very first opportunity. They pitted as soon as that pit stop window opened. And they made their change ASAP to the secondary driver. It's one of the very exciting elements in motorsport like this, the fact that they can have such a pace difference from one driver to the next. And it's what makes it always entertaining to keep an eye on. But Dient continues to lead. The gap is now 5.1 seconds. Villagomez did a purple sector 2 on that last lap. The time was 21.1 seconds through that middle sector. A really good time indeed. Just for context, that was 0.2 of a second quicker than the race leader's best time through there. So solid improvement. Continue to watch now. Chuklin in 10th position, chasing down Michael Herrick. Certainly an intriguing battle, because one corner they seem to spread out a little bit, and then the next corner they seem to close up once again. So it's definitely swinging one way then the other. The gap is never the same on the timing screen, normally anyway, but now it's varying even more so. Towards the final part of the lap they go. The race leader already coming through down the start-finish straight. Marvin Dienst using that experience so well already. And opening up that gap even further over Fricadelli Racing. He's actually just done the fastest lap of the race as well, a 121.950. Very impressive lap time indeed. A purple sector 2 being put in on that lap by him as well, a 21.1. Felipe Laser doing the 122.7, 0.8 quicker Marvin Dienst on that lap. And it's interesting actually, this is no disrespect to the drivers, as down the inside goes the number 70 machine. Big send by Gebhardt Motorsport there on the number 72 Koirunen car of Aaron Ram. Michael Hirsch suddenly looking racy here. He wants that position. Looks like Aaron Ram might not have had a good final sector, actually. Just going to check the two of them out. No, just over the course of the lap, he was about 1 to 2 tenths slower in each sector over the previous lap. So he's just gradually losing time rather than making one big mistake. But what I was going to say is, with no disrespect to any of the drivers, because they're all incredibly talented, is the fact that all of their lap times and all of their sector times are remarkably inconsistent at times. You know, it shows that these cars are not easy to drive, because they'll have one really good lap, and then the next lap they'll lose 6 tenths in one sector. And it happens quite often, actually, in these cars. So it's intriguing to see that they are not the easiest things to drive, despite being a sort of entry level into prototypes and, of course, endurance racing as well. These three all together providing the entertainment so far. It's the number 72, Koirunen Motorsport, Sebastian Aaron Ram, Swedish driver. Behind him, Michael Herrick, car number 70, driven for Gebhardt Motorsport. And third position on this queue, Alexei Chuklin for Speed Factory Racing, car number 5. Through turn 2, over that crest they go. You can see just how much it drops down the hill, hard onto the brakes into the left-hander. This is where a lot of people have trouble. The cars feel like they oversteer like mad through there. And then all of a sudden, when you get on the power and kick the back end out, it can really catch people out, you know, especially when you then transfer the weight from the left to the right and you go the other way through the right-hander on the way out of the Mercedes-Benz arena. But it still remains to be a bit of a stalemate at the moment in this part of the field. Marvin Dienst has now got a 7-second lead at the front. Felipe Laser is another 9 seconds clear of Maximilian Hacklander. He's opened up 5.8 seconds over Freddie Hunt. Actually, never mind that, Luthen has got ahead of Freddie Hunt on the previous lap. So something has gone awry there for the number 24 Reiter Engineering Ligier, because he was all over Hacklander earlier on. All of a sudden, he's even 4.2 seconds off Matthias Luthen, so something has definitely happened to the number 24. He's now actually under pressure from von Gartzen. Maybe it was actually something with von Gartzen that had gone wrong, because I'm sure he was ahead of Luthen earlier on as well, wasn't he? Intriguing indeed. Hopefully we can find a replay or have a look back at that in one form or another as the race develops. Well, there's certainly been a big shuffle inside the front end of the field. Now Marvin Dienst has just crossed the line. That's how far ahead of these guys he is. There's a good 38, 39 seconds clear of these lot. Felipe Laser next up, straight as a laser down the straight, 7.4 seconds back. Koirunen car, Aaron Ram looking a little bit more comfortable at the front of this three right now. As here is the three-way tussle between Freddie Hunt, von Gartzen and then Villa Gomez. Certainly something has gone on. It doesn't look like there's any damage that we can see anyway on the Ligier or even the Duquesne. Anything missing, any scrape marks or anything. It's a remarkably immaculate car. It's the number 24. Normally white race cars are a bit of a risk, because as soon as you have anything happen to them, they can look pretty banged up. The two pretty much all carbon black machines chasing him down, certainly looking menacing as well. If Batman's ever in the market for a new Batmobile, to be honest, you don't get much fiercer sound than an LMP3 V8 engine. I think it'd be very suitable for him to have one, to be honest with you. Might not be the easiest thing to get in and out of, but still, certainly looks the part. Anyway, Freddie Hunt now seems to have got back into a bit more of a rhythm. He started to open up a little bit more of a gap over Sebastian von Gartzen. the chicane once more, wiggling away, and look, as soon as he can, comes into the pits to make use of this pit window. He's not the only car into the pits either, actually. We've had Luthen just in front of them in the number 21 car. He also comes in as well. Keep my eye out on the timing screen to see if there's anybody else making their way in. I imagine we may get one or two more from that further battle coming in. Doesn't look like it, actually. No, that was Thibaut Earhart just going through down the start-finish straight. I could hear that from outside the box. The top few have really spread out at this point as well now. Dienst doing an amazing job at the front of the field. So there's the 33 of Villagomez. He's continued to move forward now. That car actually running 5th on the road, as Luthen and Hunt are in the pit lane. Now there is confirmation that there was something going on between von Gartzen and Hunt, because there was an incident under investigation. So there definitely was something awry. Here is the pit stop and the driver change going on. Well, the Reiter engineering crew really having to sort of press something in there, using his whole body weight. Great car to see. Let's just listen to it, shall we, as it leaves the pit lane? Or will it leave the pit lane yet? Gets the car started. Let's listen to that V8 engine power all of this burning rubber down into the road. Another pit stop right now. Villagomez coming in. Aaron Ram also coming into the pits, as there goes the number 24 car, now handed over to Mads Seilerhaug. Mads, the Norwegian driver, making his way back out. There is Chucklin, currently running up in 5th position. Villagomez has come into the pits, so he's automatically gained that spot. Fantastic looking livery on that car as well. Very contrasting colours, really bright day glow, sort of yellowy green, fluoro yellow as we call it. Here's the 3rd place car, Maximilian Hacklander, making his way up towards the end of the lap. We've got a number of cars still in the pit lane. Seilerhaug and Munding have both made their way out. Of course, the 21 car changing hands as well. Get a nice close-up view of another pit stop taking place there. The Rinaldi racing car, number 33, ready to leave the boxes. In the main shot, you see the Fricadelli racing car, number 30, Felipe Laser, still in 2nd position. He's going to be handing that car over to Klaus Abelin in the not too distant future. I've been told that unfortunately you cannot hear the noise. I do apologise for that. More cars make their way down the start finish straight, screaming away, absolutely screaming away, up through the gears. Hacklander comes into the pit lane. Dienst has stayed out, Felipe Laser has stayed out as well. Waiting to see when the timing corrects itself and all of the cars get back over the line, what sort of order they're in, because it got really shaken up by the pit stops yesterday. And this is another part of it being in LMP3 racing. I've told you it's a gateway into further endurance series and other prototype categories. The pit stops are so important as well, but that's what the teams use this as practice for. This gets them used to providing driver changes, or performing driver changes anyway, in this type of car where it's all very cramped, all very small, hard for drivers to get in and out very quickly. And another one leaving the pit lane there. That's Maximilian Hacklander in car number 2 for Conrad Motorsport. Now there is the 21 machine, Mühlner Motorsport, with Freddie Hunt's, well, what was Freddie Hunt, right behind him. Now it's being driven by Mads Seilerhaug. Purple sector 2 on that previous lap by Seilerhaug. Does the personal best for that car, 22.6 on that lap. So a really good first flying lap by Mads. He's going to be hoping to keep that pace up for the rest of the race for sure. And it will be Axel Jeffries on board the number 2 machine now. Yes, we had the question in the chat. He's just made his way out onto the circuit. Axel Jeffries, I believe, a Zimbabwean driver. I usually know my flags. For some reason, I'm not too confident on that one, but I think it's a Zimbabwean flag. There's a marker post there in the middle of the circuit. Now, they won't get too badly damaged if they get hit like that. As it gets absolutely clobbered by the number 33. That's Oscar Tunho at the wheel. We get a quick replay of how that happened. Oh, dearie me, it was Mads Seilerhaugen. Look at that thing. Absolutely tumbling. Oh, it's not having a good day, is it? Nearly stands back up on its own as well, but I don't think it would have stayed that way. And then it got another hit as well not long after that. This is the number 70 machine, Gebhardt Motorsport. Jacob Erlbacher at the wheel of that car now. Thibaut Earhart has completed his pit stop and made his way back out. We've still not seen pit stops from Marvin Dienst or Felipe Laser as into turn 1. We see a good old scrap here between the number 24 machine of Mads Seilerhaug and Axel Jeffries. Seilerhaug now in front. We've got a lot of F's in chat for the Bollard. F Bollard. It's always good banter, isn't it? F's in chat. Now, the number 24 moving forward very quickly here, actually. Seilerhaug on a mission. He's going to go chasing after Donar Munding. He's in the number 21 Renault Motorsport car. There's another view from the pit lane as in comes the race leader, Marvin Dienst. Felipe Laser has continued on. So he's going to be doing a longer stint than just about everybody else in the field. We see now the number 5, Chucklin, making his way round. I know the timing still says that car is in the pit lane, but it's not triggered a full lap yet since they've had the transponder changed, of course, to that particular driver. The information gets picked up per car. It's very clever how it all works as well, especially with pit stops involved. There's the gap now between Seilerhaug and Axel Jeffries. Donar Munding isn't too far up the road though there. You just see him coming out of turn 1 as he goes out of shot. Race leader completing the pit stop. Marvin Dienst is going to hand over to the young Turkish driver Berke Besler. Berke was fantastic yesterday until he unfortunately put the car into the barriers on pit lane entry. It slid all the way down the barrier and it wasn't that bad, but then it hit a slightly raised part of the barrier and completely broke the rear wing. And that was the car completely done with. Race leader into the pits, Felipe Laser, making his way down pit road, as the Americans call it anyway. And I'm glad that I'm not the only one that thinks these engines sound incredible. Big beefy V8s in the back of these cars. I'm pretty sure that some of them run Nissan Nismo V8 engines. Sure, the Ligier JSP 320 is a Nissan, yeah, it's the VK56 5.6 litre V8 actually, not even a 4 litre V8, it's much bigger than that. And Duquesne DO8 also using the same engine as well. Some of them have their own, they have their own sort of different rasp about them, maybe just down to how the team is running them, basically. Ginetta G61 also apparently using the same engine, so it is all the same Nissan VK56 5.6 litre V8. So I apologise for getting my facts wrong. A simple Google would have told me that I was not correct, but I'm sure that there were certain prototypes used to use the 4 litre V8 developed by Nismo. Either that or I'm getting my engines mixed up as well. Anyway, Mads Seilerhaug doesn't care how big the engine is behind him right now, as long as it is powering him along in good fashion, which it certainly is. He's up to 4th position. Axel Jeffries is there in 5th. But importantly, the last stop on the podium at the moment is Munding in that number 21 car. Now we wait wait to see where the race leader is, because Berke Besler is just going down the start-finish straight, and the Fricadelli car is coming out just in front of them. Not sure if he would have made it out in time, though. I think Berke Besler was already absolutely flying down the straight, and I'm pretty sure Klaus Abelin will not have held on to the race lead. This is third, fourth and fifth coming down the start-finish straight. Donau will be hoping to hold on to a podium position after the disappointment of yesterday's race. But that 24 Reiter engineering machine has looked really good all weekend. It may not have qualified quickest at any point, but I tell you what, it's been certainly amazing on race pace when it comes down to it. And the race lead, yeah, is very, very close, but it is the number 7 that is leading the way. It's just not been updated yet. Sometimes it does take a little bit of time. Whoa, big moment there for Mads Seilerhaug. Kicks up a lot of the dust. Manages to keep it all nice and tidy on the exit, though, and into the following corner. And actually, no, the race lead, according to the track map now, is Klaus Abelin. But I'm going to wait and see. They're just about to cross the line. Usually it takes the full lap for it to update properly. Yeah, their transponders are doing something very strange. No, this is why, because they keep changing rounds. They are completely together. Klaus Abelin leading the way. Berke Besler trying to go around the outside this way and that way. I was keeping an eye on the track map and where the transponders were, but as they trigger the sector times, the number 30 transponder seems to be creeping around the circuit as if it's barely moving. It's been overtaken by a number of cars already on the map, but we can clearly see it right in front of us here now. Now it's in camera shot. Anyway, Berke Besler gets a great run on the right-hand side out of the arena. Klaus Abelin holds on, though, into the hairpin, dives across on the brakes. Berke tries to put his nose down the inside, gets an overlap as well. These two beautiful red LMP3 Ligier JSP 320s completely side by side. As whoa, Klaus has overdone it through the left-hander. Still, he's on the inside for the next corner. Needs to be a really good run out of here for Berke Besler. Tries to tuck it in on the right-hand side. Side by side once more. Up through the gears they go, powering down the back straight, and Besler takes the lead for TalkSport WRT, the championship leaders, against the invitational entry here, especially for the Nürburgring weekend. Absolutely epic fight between the two of them with only 20 minutes left to go in this race. Klaus gets nice and early to the apex for the final corner. But look at that, Berke Besler has a fantastic final sector. Once he gets ahead before the chicane, he clears him. By the time they go over the line, the gap is over a second, 1.072. Berke is a really, really up-and-coming talent. A really special up-and-coming talent, I should have said. The battle still goes on in the background as well, but it'd be good to keep our eyes on this for just a minute. This is a very, very tight one between the pair. As well, a bit of smoke comes out the back of Klaus Abelin's car there, maybe just locking up the brakes slightly. But back in the lead of the race, TalkSport WRT. Berke Besler and Marvin Dienst. Here is the moment, look at that, he gets a fantastic run, tucks the car in on the right-hand side, gets superior traction. It's like a long-standing cutback, isn't it? And there's nothing that Klaus Abelin can do to stop the other Ligier flying away. And look at the difference one lap makes as well. Berke Besler, fair play, sunshine. Absolutely awesome lap that he's done since getting past. It's easy to get a little bit overexcited once you have made an overtake like that and just outdo yourself over the following circulation. But he's done a really standout job of that one. There is an incident under investigation, I've been told, between cars 70 and 72. That's Erlbacher and Salmonosio. They're currently running 8th and 10th either side of Chucklin with quite a big gap as well, so I think maybe the 72 is the one that's come off worse from that. Able to keep going though, it seems like they're actually very close to Chucklin last time they triggered any of the sectors. Wait and see whether we get another glimpse of them soon. We look at the number 21 right now though, Donar Munding. Currently holding on to a podium spot ahead of Mads Seilerhaug, but Mads is really closing in. Reiter Engineering eyeing up another podium this weekend. They got the race win yesterday. Not quite sure they're on the pace to take the race win here because it's 14 seconds. Now here is that previously mentioned battle between the 72 Koirunen car and the number 5 of Speed Factory Racing. Down the inside, it is Salman Osio. Finnish driver, yes, he's Salman Osio. And then right there is the number 5 being driven by, well, it was Alexei Chuklin earlier on. I'm not sure if they've actually changed hands at this point. It should have been Giorgio Rosa, but maybe Alexei the only driver here this weekend. There is the move being completed. It was just all about the run out of the final corner. Down the inside goes Salman Osio. And now is seemingly broken away as well. And the Duquesne has started to disappear over the horizon. Look at the speed they carry down here, down the back straight. So impressive. It's great to watch. Speaking of impressive, Berke Besler in just a couple of laps has opened up his race lead to 6.8 seconds over Klaus Abelin as well. Fricadelli Racing not able to quite live with him at this point of the race. Munding still holding on to third ahead of Salihag, then Jeffries as well. And now it's a bit of a constant stream of these 5.6 litre V8s roaring their way past the commentary box. The field is quite spread out, albeit for the cars in 3rd, 4th and 5th, which are all separated by less than 3 seconds. Number 23 of Thibaut Earhart just crosses the line as well. Completes his 26th lap of the race. They get through a lot of laps here at this Nürburgring circuit. It's not the full Grand Prix circuit. Look at the approach that they use though for the final corner. There was a big spillage of fluid on the outside line there in yesterday's truck race. There was a huge hole in one of the engines because of that, and a lot of the cars and trucks and teams are all avoiding that wider outside line into the final corner now as a result of it. It's really changed the dynamic of the racetrack over the weekend, and it's not a simple racetrack as it is. But there's your race leader, Berke Besler, Turkish driver, doing absolutely amazingly at the minute. He was very impressive with his pace yesterday. But as mentioned, had that incident on the way into the pits, just over exuberant, lost the back end of the car. But in this format of the race, at least with having him as the second driver, he does not need worry about entering the pits, other than maybe at the end of the race when he probably takes the race victory. Touch wood anyway. Klaus Abelin 9.4 seconds back now 11.4 seconds back. That's absolutely ridiculous pace. It's 1.9 seconds different in just the first sector alone. Absolutely remarkable. But to be fair, Klaus needs to start thinking about the cars behind him, you know, because they're closing in bit by bit here. They're all about 1.2 seconds quicker than him through the first sector as well. There is the number 23 machine. Thibaut Earhart driving that car on his own this weekend for Pegasus Racing. But for a single-handed effort, he's doing just fine. Maybe at the bottom of the grid, but he's doing all that they need to do. Getting experience with the car and just continuing to put the laps in, and that's all you need to do. Hopefully the championship continues to develop as well and gets bigger and bigger grids as they go on. Now Pegasus Racing, as we see here, have actually competed in the Le Mans 24 Hours 4 times in the LMP2 category. And this LMP3 car is another new venture for them. They're the first French team to enter the championship. Thibaut himself has raced for a couple of years in Porsche Cup cars and the Ligier JS2R. So he's not completely unfamiliar with the Ligier brand, at least. Of course, them being French as well. And we look now once again at the number 72. Koirunen car is back near the front now. I said Fricadelli have to worry about the cars chasing them down, and they really do as well. Clipping the gravel on the outside of the circuit is Donar Munding. He goes past Klaus Abelin on the way into the chicane. He's going to get a beautiful run through there, and I'd argue that Salihag is going to try and have this into the final corner as well. Abelin defends the inside. Salihag puts the car down the inside, pries that door open Really committed stuff as he puts it down the inside there and goes through into third position. All of a sudden, they have a podium position in the palm of their hand, and it's all started to unravel slightly for Fricadelli. Klaus Abelin now down to fourth place that quickly. Beautiful, beautiful dive down the inside and great commitment. Really strong job. And just for a moment breaking character and directly replying to James in the YouTube chat. I don't actually have the permissions to do so either, to be honest. If I did, I probably would ban them with the use of my phone. Anyway, away from all of that, the race itself between these two is hotting up right now. Seilerhaug can suddenly sense a potential podium. And I've been told that apparently the Pegasus car is not a Ligier, but I'm pretty confident it is. It's a Ligier JSP 320, much like a lot of the others in the field. Blue. Not much else different about it. But Klaus has now dropped another position, unfortunately. And Axel Jeffries has gone through in the number 2 Conrad car. Klaus Abelin continuing to push on as hard as he can to keep the car now at least in the top 5. The next car behind him is a good 8 seconds back. That's Oscar Tunho. There's 11 minutes of this race left. So there's plenty of time for things to still change. That's what we all love about motorsport. Some series only have 15-minute races at the end of the day, so we're about a third of the way through what one of them would be from the end anyway, if that makes sense. Besler still leads. That makes sense. Munding still second. Seilerhaug in third, but a great battle is potentially brewing here between these two. Seilerhaug has dropped away a little bit over the last half a lap or so in the Reiter Engineering car, but he's still in touch at least. Jeffrey's not quite as close to them as he once was as well. The rest of the field continuing to spread out. Looks like Thibaut Earhart is about to get lapped as well by race leader Berke Besler, judging from when their lap times are being completed. Berke Besler is just on an absolute mission. So impressive throughout this race so far. Let's see what the gap is now to Donar Munding. 16.9 seconds as he crosses the line. That's so impressive. So impressive. And Fricadelli now are going to be keeping their eyes on what is the gap from Abelin back to Tunho. It's 5.3 seconds and it's only a lap later. So unfortunately for Klaus Abelin, I feel that that gap may continue to diminish. We'll have to wait and see whether he can really close in, can Oscar Tunho, and gain another championship position, of course, with the points. Although, being completely honest with you, and realising that I've realised my own mistake, the number 30 car doesn't affect championship points, basically. It's an invitational car, so it will not take any points for being in 5th. So Oscar Tunho will be classified championship-wise as 5th, if that makes sense. So Donar Munding holding on to second place at the moment. A nice turnaround considering what happened to the car yesterday. Qualified on pole position, but then the car behind it was the one that won the race. The number 24, Freddie Hunt, crossing the line in that car to finish it all up yesterday, but starting the car on this Sunday afternoon. They roll their way down the start-finish straight once more. Jeffrey's still 4th, then Abelin, then Tunho. Von Gartzen, look in the background, there's the Fricadelli car, and there is Tunho, the 33 Rinaldi Racing machine. Really clinging on to the back of Klaus Abelin now. Next up is Hauser in the number 12 car, then it's Earl Backer in number 70, Salman Osio in number 72, Chucklin, car 5 for racing, sorry, for Speed Factory Racing. I almost said Racing Factory Speed there. And then Thibaut Earhart at the back of the field for Pegasus Racing. try and see if I can find the average lap times, but they're all doing around 1 minute 23s and 24s at the moment. I think throughout the race, with maybe a couple of other slower laps between the two drivers, I'd say the average is probably around 1 minute 25. In the 124s and 125s, I'd say. Thibaut Earhart has now been lapped, and there is the visual proof. It's Berke Besler leading the way. Let's see what the gap is this time when he crosses the line over Donar Munding. Donar is just going around the final corner now, still under pressure from Mads Seilerhaug. Let's see, he's just crossing the line. And it is 16.656 seconds, so it's not changed too much from what it was a moment ago. I think there might have been a car coming to the pit lane. It certainly sounds like it from outside my window anyway. There's definitely a rumble nearby, either that or, to be fair, some of the drift cars that get used as demonstrators here at the Nürburgring, the Falcon tyres machines, they are in the next garage over from us, so they are probably just rumbling the floor slightly. Anyway, 6.5 minutes left. And this has been an incredible performance by the number 7 machine. 2 race wins so far this season. They were the only team to have won a race coming into this round of the championship. And Oscar Tunho has got ahead of Klaus Aberlin now for 5th position. That's happened in the first sector on this lap. And that is the number 5 car once more on our screen. Chucklin just inside the top 10. Salman Osio is a good 12 seconds up the road though, so there's no real challenge there from the number 5 at this moment in time. Closest 2 cars on the track are currently the cars in 2nd and 3rd, about 1.6 seconds between them right now. But they are miles behind this guy, Berke Besler, and his teammate Marvin Dienst. Marvin getting the car into a fantastic position early on. After the pit stops, there was a great battle with the Fricadelli racing car, but Berke Besler has just outclassed the rest of the field during this stint. It's incredibly impressive. And after the mistake of yesterday, it's great to see that he can overcome that. He's still a young driver. And as is often the case with the younger drivers in a racing field, you know, their mental strength hasn't quite developed as much. You know, they get affected by certain setbacks as they come up through their careers and try to get more and more progress behind the wheel. And you can see even, I mean, compared to Thibaut Earhart, yeah, Thibaut may be putting in slightly slower lap times at the moment, for sure, at the back of the field, but just how much Berke has managed to gap him since lapping him only a lap or so ago. Is still the number 21 of Donar Munding ahead of Mads Seilerhaug. 1.5 seconds the gap now. Jeffries is 3 seconds back off them. Tunho is actually moving quite well as well, you know, up in 5th position. Let's have a look at his lap times. Tunho in the 33 car did a 1:22.3 last time around. He's the only car in the field in the 22s as well, so he's a good 7 tenths quicker than everybody else right now. That's really impressive, actually. 1:24.1 for Besler, 1:23.1 for Munding, 1:23.0 for Seilerhaug, and then a 1:23.4 for Jeffries. So, if anything, Besler was actually a second slower than the cars chasing him down last time around, and he was 1.8 seconds slower than Oscar Tunho. So Oscar, the Colombian driver, really on the move. Blue flag's being waved for Alexei Chulklin, the Ukrainian driver. Berke Besler has now 3 minutes left to go with this race, so we should get 2 more laps after this one. I believe they have to do another lap on top of that as well. I think it's 55 minutes plus a lap, although I haven't seen that in confirmation anywhere, actually, to be honest with you. but still. A lot of compliments coming in for the number 7 car as well in how it looks, and it is an absolutely stunning livery. It's a very striking looking car with that sort of honeycomb pattern all over it as well, and the big grey markings down it as well. That red and that grey really works well together actually, doesn't it? And the big DYO branding on the back of it. Certainly a big bold logo like that really suits this car. I mean, Berke Besler makes it look even better as well, doesn't he, with how quickly it goes. It's an absolute rocket ship this afternoon. Ligier have always made good-looking racing cars, and they continue to do so with this JSP 320. Into the final corner, 2 minutes left to go on the clock. I'm confident that we're going to get this one and at least 2 more laps now. Cross line again. What's the lap time this time then for Besler? 1:23.9. Second, third and fourth are all just coming into the final couple of corners now. So a 23.9 for the race leader. Donau Munding does a 1:23.2. It's a 1:23.2 by Seiler Haug. Jeffries 1:23.1. So he's the fastest out of the 4 of them at the moment. And it's a 1:22.3 for Oscar Tunho. So he is 1.6 seconds a lap faster than the race leader at the moment. He's also 0.8 quicker of the next fastest car in the top 5, which is Axel Jeffries. He's quicker than the 2 cars ahead of him. So basically the top 5 is reversed in pace order right now. It's very, very impressive. So Tunho now closing in on Jeffries, who's closing in on Seiler Haug and Munding. And they are really closing in on Besler. I think maybe Besler, though, he's taken his foot off the gas slightly here in the latter stages. He knows that they're on their way to a win. He'll have been told over the radio, can you just look after the car a little bit, just look after the tyres, don't push it to the absolute limit, just bring it home. 30 seconds on the clock as he crosses the line once more. A 23.0, so still a decent lap actually by Berke Besler there. That's quicker than the cars behind him were going. Mentioned cars are now coming through the final corner. There is the timer counting down. Donau Munding 23.2, 23.3 for Seiler Haug. That is slower than Besler. 23.0 pretty much matching him is Axel Jeffries. Tunho a 22.2, another personal best for that car. Another fastest lap for that car. Really impressive right now is Oscar Tunho. Fastest machine on the circuit, trying to go chasing down after Axel Jeffries. He's already on for a top 5. I'm not sure whether he'll be on for a podium. This is, well, hasn't been confirmed as a final lap yet because the timer is down to 0, but I think we get an extra lap after the timer hits 0, so we'll have to see. We'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. Now, there has been an incident reported to the stewards, which is the incident between cars 70 and 72, which happened much earlier in the race. That's Elbacher and Salmonosio. Into the final chicane with 1 more corner to go comes the number 7 of Berke Besler. Are we going to see the checkered flag, or are we going to see 1 more lap? Yes, last lap board goes out, so it is 55 minutes plus a lap. I'm a bit ashamed of myself that it's taken 2 races to realise that, but still, I don't want to completely jump the gun in these situations. Berke Besler 1 more lap. That also means that the scraps that are going on behind could get even more interesting, because there's going to be lap traffic involved in this one as well, because we have Earhart just ahead of the cars 21 and 24. Then we have Axel Jeffries, not Maximilian Hacklander. What was Tunho's lap time last time? 22.6. They had a 22.9 actually from Seiler Haug there, so some of them have been able to pick the pace up a little bit more. Klaus Abelin has unfortunately dropped further ground to these cars and might even lose another place as well, because the number 12 machine of Gary Hauser is right behind him, who's 0.2 of a second behind when they last went through any of the sectors, and he might even get that done before the end of the race. But here is your race leader into the final corner. Berke Besler completes the job for TalkSport WRT. Their 3rd race win of the season out of 4 races. What a fantastic record they hold so far in the Prototype Cup Germany. Well done indeed. And yes, the number 12 car, well, swapping places with Klaus Abelin time and time again. Now look at this lot coming around the final corner, and the 24 machine is not going to do it. It is Mundig 2nd, Seilerhaug 3rd. Jeffries holds on to 4th position. Oscar Tunho is going to be in 5th place. That got very close near the end, though. Awesome to see it closing up like that. And with only a couple of corners left, I believe it is going to be the number 12 of Hauser ahead of Klaus Abelin as they get to the line. They've got the number 70 Gebhardt Motorsport car not too far behind them. But Berke Besler and his teammate Marvin Dienst take a race victory in Prototype Cup Germany. They've done an amazing, amazing job. Absolutely love it. And it was a very, very tidy race as well. No major contact or incidents from what we saw. A real good advert for these LMP3 cars and this wonderful championship. I just hope to see it continue to grow with more entries, more fantastic teams. A lot of these teams here have really rich history within motorsport. And it's awesome to see them represented by these beautiful, beautiful racing cars. But Berke Besler really makes up for yesterday and that mistake on the way into the pits with a strong race victory for him and his teammate Marvin Dienst. That is the 3rd one out of 4. 75% win ratio in a season so far. That's not bad going, is it? There may have only been 4, but still 75%. Everybody now crawling their way back into the pit lane to complete the race. And then, of course, head towards the podium, which is in the back end of the paddock here at the Nürburgring this weekend. They've got it right in front of the fan village and the innovation camp, which the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship has brought with them. You can see just how full the paddock is as well this weekend. Trucks galore all the way around and all the way back down the far end of the circuit as well, down near the Michael Schumacher S and the Dunlop Kera at the very bottom. Thank you very much for the kind words regarding the coverage, guys. I want to apologise if the... Okay, well that's loud. I wanted to apologise if there's anything I've got majorly wrong this weekend. It's my first time covering the championship on a bit of a one-off basis because I'm already here for the weekend anyway, and the ADAC have been very kind and invited me along to bring you the coverage. I'll be commentating again later on the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, my primary focus of the weekend. But I hope you have enjoyed it. It's also been really good fun to see these cars up close once more. As I said before, there's not really any of them in the UK. My name's Chaz Draycott, and I'll be covering a lot of many different series that you may see all over in the near future. So hopefully you'll be watching or listening to me again very soon. And there is a very, very happy Berke Besler after a tough one yesterday. Certainly delighted to take the race victory. Handshakes and hugs all round for everybody. Wonderful, wonderful positive vibe within the paddock here in Prototype Cup Germany. Everybody knows that this is such a fantastic potential series, you know. I mean, it's already got a great list of entries when you read down them and see the heritage and some of the experience that some of the drivers have got. And I mean, you all appreciate how great these cars sound as well. It's really, really top-notch stuff. And I hope to see more of it as well in the future. And you never know, one day maybe I'll be back here with the ADAC and with this championship as well. Interviews going on now in the paddock. And of course, the race winners, the first to be interviewed, the first to cross the line. And it doesn't really come much better than that, to be honest with you, because it wasn't really much of a fight at the very front of the field in the latter stages. It was a very, very large gap, wasn't it? Just making sure I note the results down on here, because what often happens with championships and race weekends like this is once the race has been completed and the next session or the next event goes out on the circuit, so much can happen so quickly and the timing screens can get completely wiped. So I'm going to make sure that I've got all of this written down for you. There is Berke Besler on a fantastic, fantastic race win. Big smiles as well. It'll mean a lot for him as well because, as I said before, you know, I know I'm repeating myself a lot at this point, but when you're a younger driver and you're coming up through the ranks and you're trying to prove a point, prove to everybody how good you are, especially when it's a broadcasted race as well, it's so important to make sure that everything you do is something done right. And when you have a mistake like Berke made yesterday, which happens to everybody, you know, we're all human at the end of the day, it can really knock your confidence and really be quite the upsetting moment, because you've not sort of just let your team down, but you've let, well, not just yourself but the team as well. You know, it's very hard to live with, and that's what comes as part of being a racing driver. You know, the mental strength gets developed season after season. There's the two Reiter Engineering guys, Mads Seilerhaug and Freddie Hunt. Both of them getting a very strong weekend completed here with a race win yesterday and a third place in this one. 2 podiums for the gorgeous white machine. And our wonderful German presenter down there in the pit lane with them. I was having a good chat with him earlier on, actually. He speaks very good English, to be honest with you, and we had a very, very good laugh. And thank you, honestly, once again, everybody, for the kind words regarding the commentary. I can't even talk about it, can I? But no, a one-man band in the commentary booth is never always the easiest situation, but I do enjoy it. You know, it's always good fun to do. Freddie Hunt there, and incredible image, isn't he? I mean, it's quite scary, the likeness, to be honest with you. Great to have him in the championship, an awesome name to see on the grid. And then Mads Seilerhaug as well, joining him in that beautiful Ligier. Seilerhaug, the Norwegian driver. Certainly not Norwegian conditions out there this weekend, is it? But he drove a really strong final stint, just wasn't able to get ahead of Donar Munding, but Donar also drove very, very well. Didn't have to defend too hard, but he certainly kept the pace up, and that's the main thing. You know, if you've got a car filling your mirrors all the time, it's very easy to push too hard to stay ahead and make a mistake. And Donar and his teammate Matthias Luthen will now get interviewed as well. Both of them, understandably, in German, being German drivers. And unfortunately, I'll be completely upfront with you here, everybody. I can't speak German, so I cannot translate, unfortunately. I'm very spoiled, actually, when I come out to these events with the European Truck Racing Championship, because all of the team, they speak really good English as well. Obviously, it does help when you travel all over Europe and have to travel through many a country and many a continent to go and see all of the racing that you're involved in and go and put these events on. Here's another look, though, up close with these beautiful cars. You can see they are almost open-wheeled machines, with the fact that the wheel sort of pokes up through the hole that's cut out at the top of the wheel arch, but that's to stop all of the air sort of circulating within that wheel arch and disturbing the airflow. A lot of you, I know, will remember back in the day the old Mercedes CLRs that used to race at Le Mans, famous for becoming not just cars but planes as well, because of issues like that, where with the ground clearance they had, as soon as they got air underneath them or under the wheel arches. There's another look at it, you see. The big cutout over the top means that any air that gets expelled can get pushed back out of said wheel arch and not sort of culminate in that area of the car. And they are all about downforce, these machines. Very sleek, very beautiful shapes, you know, when you do get to see them up close. And if you ever do, honestly, I implore you to really get up close and look around them. They're so well put together, very sturdy machines. And of course, with those massive V8 engines in the back as well, they are a lot more old school, actually. It sounds a bit strange to say, because I know they are modern day race cars, but when it comes to the mechanics of these things, you know, a lot less of them is all about electronics. You know, they are very mechanical machines, which again on its own sounds ridiculous, but the way that they can be worked on and the way that they can be tweaked and tuned, it's a lot more physical and a lot more old school, like I say. We have our interviews being completed right now then, before the drivers and teams will make their way to the podium. And everybody continues to enjoy the sunshine here at the Nürburgring, and of course the international ADAC Truck Grand Prix. The championship moves on from Nürburgring, and we have quite the summer break coming up, unfortunately, but it won't be long before we'll be back on your screens, I tell you that. It'll be the Lausitz Ring in the middle of August, 20th and 21st of August. We'll be there for 2 more races. And then the season will be rounded out at the Hockenheim Ring on the 22nd and 23rd of October. And if you think these cars sound fantastic over the broadcast, wait till you get to hear them in person. If you do get a chance to go and see them, I implore you to do so. It is honestly completely ear-piercingly loud, especially when they change gear right in front of you. I was stood on the pit wall during some of their practice sessions earlier in the weekend when they were changing gear down the straight, and they were doing it perfectly in front of where I was stood. And it's honestly like someone set a cannon off next to your head. It's absolutely ridiculous how loud they are. So we just wait, like I say, for the interviews to be completed. I'm sorry that I cannot translate or provide the full audio. You can see it means a lot, actually, to these drivers to get these strong results. And this is the thing, you know, a lot of these younger drivers are coming up through the ranks. You know, they're proving a point. They're building their careers on these sorts of races and these sorts of championships. And it's so important for them to get the results, because in future it can mean sponsorships, it can mean more opportunities with more teams and into future championships to do whatever they want to do within motorsport. You know, that's one of the beautiful things about this sport, is there's so many avenues that you can go down within it. And it's a very, very important event for a lot of German drivers as well to do it here at the Nürburgring. An incredible moment there with both the drivers from the 21 machine run by Milner Motorsport, Donar Munding and Matthias Luthen. And you can see congratulations all round in the front end of the pit lane here. Now they're being urged to make their way around. There's another Corso going on, which is all of the Ford trucks that we have here this weekend, I believe. Unless it's the Iveco lot that are doing it. So here's your podium. Mads Seilerhaug and Freddie Hunt finishing in 3rd place with Reiter Engineering in their Ligier JS P320. Donar Munding and his teammate getting a podium for Milner Motorsport in the Duquesne D08. But it is the number 7 Ligier that is top of the pile once more. Berke Besler and Marvin Dienst absolutely dominant here this afternoon at the Nürburgring in the 2nd race of the weekend. You can see all of the beautiful trucks making their way up through the top of the paddock and, well, sorry, the top end of the Mercedes arena, sorry. There are your results then. Car 7 taking a very dominant victory, 16.5 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Donar Munding and Matthias Luthen finishing in 2nd place. Then it got very, very close towards the end, didn't it, with everybody else? Mads Seilerhaug and Freddie Hunt rounding out the podium, ahead of Axel Jeffries and Maximilian Hacklander in the number 2 Ginetta. Oscar Tunho finishes in 5th place with number 33. His teammate Matteo Villagomez being very, very sturdy early on. Gary Hauser and Sebastian von Gartzen just about overtook Klaus Abelin and Felipe Laser near the end of the race. Then we have just behind them the number 70 machine from Gebhardt Motorsport, ahead of Koirinen Motorsport, Jesse Salamonosio and Sebastian Aronram. And then the last 2 cars in the field, Speed Factory Racing's number 5 and Thibaut Earhart, the one-man band in the Pegasus Racing machine, doing a really, really strong job. So we see our drivers now making their way to the podium. That's the Truck Racing Innovation Camp in the background, and I can confirm with what's missing from there is definitely the Ivecos. And yeah, honestly, I've seen comments in the YouTube chat saying about the Conga line of trucks. They do a couple of what they call Corsos this weekend, where they have a big line of the trucks all parading. It's basically a parade around the circuit. We had all of the show trucks earlier on. I believe there was over 160 different show trucks making their way around the circuit earlier, and I was lucky enough to be in the one at the very back in the official truck of the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, the Ford F-Max. And it was great, great fun to be a part of that and wave to all the crowd. We even did some donuts as well. Yes, really. But Besler, well, he did an amazing job in that final stint, did he not? Insane pace to really complement the fantastic experience that his teammate Marvin Dienst had put in as well in the early stages. And they have certainly made a very good squad. And if you haven't seen the truck racing before, as I see some comments coming in about that, stick around. Well, unfortunately not on this same YouTube channel, but if you go over to the FIA European Truck Racing Championship YouTube channel, then you will be able to see the final race of the weekend, which is coming up not long after this broadcast finishes, actually. I'm going to be commentating on that one as well. And I'll be running you through all the action until the very end of the day here at the Nürburgring. Again, repeating myself and just telling everyone how much of an honour it is to actually be here. So it's time to bring our drivers up to the podium, I believe. First off is going to be the two drivers from Reiter Engineering. Number 24, represented by Freddie Hunt and Mads Seilerhaug. Second place going the way of car 21 after a tough day yesterday. A great turnaround for Donar Munding and his teammate Matthias Luthen. But the overall race winner for the third time this season out of 4 races, going the way of the incredibly impressive Berke Besler and Marvin Dienst, the number 7 Top Sport WRT Ligier JSP 320. Big round of applause from all of the wonderful fans that we have here in the paddock. It's been very, very busy this weekend in the paddock. It's great to see it. All the truck racing, the prototypes as well, getting all of their appreciation. And it's very, very well deserved.
Kommt. Wir haben leichte technische Probleme, nicht auf die Kammerzeit. Bleibt ruhig noch ein bisschen stehen. Jetzt! Dass wir so schnell angefangen haben, hätten wir auch zu Ende spielen können. Nein, alles gut.
And the national anthem ringing out all around the circuit. Lovely stuff to see. Everyone with a round of applause, and the trophies will get brought out momentarily.
Rudi Speich, Vorstand, erster Vorsitzender des ADAC Mittelrhein, Jürgen Verheul, der Club-Syndikus und Syndikus des ADAC und
the drivers will receive their necessary congratulations for their finishing positions.
Für die Drittplatzierten herzlichen Glückwunsch noch einmal an Mats Silberhaug und
Freddie Hunt and Mads Seilerhaug with the third place trophies. Handshakes all round for the entire podium. Second place trophies going the way of Donar Munding and Matthias Luthen. I thought I'd get the names right by now. And of course the winners' trophies going to number 7 Berke Besler and Marvin Dienst. Very cool trophies in this championship as well, actually, I must say. There are your two winners on the very top of the podium. I believe we will also get some more personnel out onto the podium. And of course, we will have the trophy winner and the junior winner as well. I think Berke Besler will be the one to take that, actually.
Trophäen kommen jetzt.
More applause given.
So, da kommt Alexandre Cabo.
And we're not even beginning the champagne fight yesterday. You could see everybody was really eager with the champagne fight. And there you go, there are your junior winners, Marvin Dienst and Berke Besler. More trophies for the cabinet, and it's in these moments now where they're putting the trophies down. A few of the drivers were being quite sneaky yesterday and starting to undo the champagne bottles slightly and get them ready for the epic champagne fight that ensued. And I mean, a champagne fight on the podium is good enough when you get 3 drivers, let alone having 6. And Matthias Luthen takes the win in the trophy standings. He gets another trophy, funnily enough, to take the win.
With the trophies, yes.
And everybody poses for the pictures on the podium.
Okay. Yes, of course. Thank you very much. And now, it is time for...
And now they all put the trophies down, and so begins the champagne. The grid girls run away very, very quickly indeed. And while Freddie Hunt's not quick enough at opening that bottle there, the cameraman runs for cover, and even if you're in the crowd, you are not safe either. Everybody getting absolutely drenched. Look at that, by Donal Munding and Matthias Luthen, the 2 teammates absolutely soaking each other. Champagne bottles down the back of the overalls. I can imagine one of the most uncomfortable things within motorsport, to be honest with you. Maybe not as uncomfortable as a pole-posting Mercedes, but still, let's not touch on that too much. Thumbs up, smiles all round, and a great celebration here at the end of the second race of the weekend in the Prototype Cup Germany. That's going to be all from me, though. I need to go and get ready for the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship broadcast, which is about to start now. Thank you to the ADAC for everybody for letting me on, and thank you everybody for watching. I'll see you again very, very soon.
Zur Siegerehrung sehen, wenn das letzte Rennen dieses Wochenendes dann auch hier auf diesem Siegerpodest geehrt wird. Hier geht die Sieger auch nochmal runter. Marvin, wie war es für euch am Wochenende? Ich meine, der Sieg ist natürlich toll, dann ist alles klasse, aber der Auftritt hier beim Truck Grand Prix was Besonderes?
Ja, auf jeden Fall. Ich glaube, man sieht hier die Fans, wie sie das feiern, auch was hier abends geboten wird. Von Freitagabendsparty, gestern Abend eine große Party im Feuerwerk. Das sieht man schon mittlerweile sehr selten. Es ist einfach schön zu sehen, was hier in Menschenmengen zusammenkommt, was hier den Sport anfeuert. Und ja, es freut uns immer sehr als Fahrer, weil wir es auch mitbekommen, die Stimmung auch in den Autos.
Hat es euch gefallen, merke ich, oder höre ich raus? Ich wünsche euch für die Serie weiterhin alles gut. Ihr habt noch 2 Läufe, wenn ich das richtig im Kopf habe. Vielleicht sehen wir uns ja nächstes Jahr hier wieder. Und der Prototype Cup Germany ist dann on the way hier beim Truck Grand Prix. Dankeschön und herzlichen Glückwunsch nochmal.